return rate in the book, and when people saw their books in May, they decided to come back, and so it was a real boost for the college, for our reunion, and a fundraiser for the college.
The question I asked you when you told me about that was the first thing that came to your mind about what would your legacy be or what you were most proud of, and then you said, no, that's not what it is. Can you tell us what it is, and we'll wrap up with you and go to BB.
Would that be here?
Your legacy as a mother and grandmother, more. I know you said that you were most proud of your grandchildren and what they've accomplished and staying on the straight and narrow and being a good example.
Anybody knows me knows that my whole life revolves around my twins, who are 18 years old and are headed to college. My grandson's going to the University of Wisconsin, and my granddaughter's going to Boulder, Colorado.
Thanks, Judy.
I mean, Judy is the most fabulous organizer. She has got us all, she's got us all organized for every golf, every tennis. I don't know how this club would survive without you. I really mean it.
Yep.
You've been fabulous.
I agree. So, BB Garfield, I don't want to cry because you warm my heart. You really do. She raised 5 children in Newton Center, and you moved up here when they were a bit older.
A little older, yeah.
An avid skier, and I just want to start with your skiing days with your girlfriends.
Yeah.
And then we'll move into maybe the
We
your
went
work life.
everywhere. There was, I can't think of any place except maybe South America in the world.
Yeah, we can't hear.
See if I can turn it on.
We lost Judy.
Woohoo.
Do that again.
Woohoo.
When you hold it up, we can hear. You have to hold it in front of your mouth.
Hello.
There we go.
She was in the newspaper.
I don't think it's going to go up. I don't know. And I don't want it squelched.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Bill?
Yes, much better.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what was I saying?
Your wild ski trip.
Oh, the ski trips. Yeah, I skied everywhere with these people, and one of them made a list. I couldn't believe the list of places and the places we've gone, like 30, 40, 50 places, and so every winter, no matter what, even when I was working, I'd take a couple weeks and go skiing in Switzerland or Austria or here and there and everywhere. So, even Alaska. Yeah. Yeah, they ski in Alaska, Yvonne. Alaska. Yeah.
BB, tell us how you met Doug.
Well, I went to Bennington College, and one of my housemates was dating Doug. That was, we always called her Jeanette with the beautiful legs. And so anyway, Doug asked Jeanette to fix his cousin up with a date. So Jeanette got me, and I went out with Bobby Garfield, and I adored Bobby. It was just a lifelong friendship. It was just, but Doug was the one.
You said Bobby Garfield. See, that's a little Freudian slip there, right?
Yeah.
Was his name Garfield too?
No, that was the cousin.
That was his cousin.
Oh,
Bobby
gotcha.
Was his cousin.
All right.
So Bobby and I were friends forever. He married a wonderful woman that lived in Cleveland, had a great career, and anyway, but he and Doug were very, very close friends too. So, but Doug was the one, and Doug and I were married right after I graduated from college in 1951. Yeah.
Tell us how you became a pilot also.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Before, when we moved to Boston, we had a printing plant, and we had customers all over the Midwest. So it was cheaper for Doug to fly his own plane than to go tootling off in American Airlines or TWA or whatever. So, because usually he brought a salesman with him. So we took up flying. We bought this little Musketeer, Beechcraft Musketeer, fixed gear. And we both learned how, I figured if he was gonna learn to fly, and we were gonna fly our own plane and had our kids in it, and he got a tummy ache or a headache, I better figure out how to get that thing down. So I took up flying too. And then we bought, and then when we, then Doug got a little bit bigger plane. That was the Bonanza. And then I flew that one for a while too. But when he went to a twin engine plane, I said, I've had it, no way. So that's when my flying stopped. But by that time I was really into a lot of other things in Boston too. Yeah.
Did he have a co-pilot when he flew that plane?
No, he
No?
didn't.
And no incidents ever?
No. He'd had one little incident one time going to Menominee, Michigan or someplace like that. And one of the engines started to heat up. So he was taking his nephew with him. So the nephew says, Uncle Doug, I think the plane's on fire. Doug looked over, he saw that, and he said, you might be right. Maybe we better get down and put down in Syracuse or someplace. So down they went, and when you learn how to fly an airplane with twin engines, you learn how to fly it with only one engine. So Doug finally got to practice the one engine thing. So because he shut down, and everything was fine. So at any rate, the flying days were great. We used to go to the Vineyard and circle the East Chop Light, and then our friends there would go to the airport and meet us, and we'd look down and see all the cars going over the Bourne Bridge. So yeah, that was great. And then when we moved up here, the kids were a little bit older. Nina was was just going to Linden State that year. Lilybell was at college too. And so those were the two that were left in college. And that's when I started to work. And so I worked at, my first beat at the paper was Woodsville. And then I got promoted to Lisbon. Very exciting. And then eventually I got promoted like crazy, and the editor left, and Doug said, you know, you seem to be doing all the work anyway, why don't you just be the editor? So I said, okay. So I did. When I got to be editor, it was great, because I didn't have to go to all the selectmen's meetings and school board meetings and everything. So that was great.
Tell us about how you organized your family and the paper at the same time. Your famous blackboard.
But not very well, I don't think. Well, most of the, I'm sure we had some help. One of them worked at the paper in sports for a while. And I think most of them were at school.
What about the blackboards? Didn't you have a blackboard at the paper that organized all
the
your...
blackboard, yeah. Yeah, because you get these young kids from journalism school, and literally, they did not know how to write their own names, let alone a news story. But, so I had my blackboard, because in a local paper, you have people's names. That's very important, because if your name is in the paper, or if your kid's name is in the paper, that means you're going to buy it, your grandmother's going to buy it, everybody in your family. That means circulation is going to go shh. And so, but it's very important to spell their names right, otherwise you surely hear about it. So I had a bunch of odd spelling names, and I put them on a blackboard, and also people would be ungrammatical, and so I put things on the blackboard.
And didn't you make your kids put all their appointments on the blackboard at home?
Absolutely. The kids really had to make their own appointments for everything, but that was even before, when we still lived in Boston. Yeah, they're still talking about that. Yeah.
So while you and Judy are together, why don't you just talk about the scribes versus the vibes a little bit?
The scribes versus the vibes.